Hello, and in today's video we're doing my updated FPL draft teams and also my late changes to my main FPL fantasy.premierleague.com team locked in for game week 1. Now, of course, I did my deadline stream. I had a lot of technical hitches and I've kept having those technical hitches. I can't seem to get a webcam working on OBS. I can't seem to link it to YouTube. I'm not good with this kind of stuff, so unfortunately people, you'll have to bear with me, and I've just done a screen recording instead. So what we're doing here is talking through our draft teams, and to start off with, this is the first one. So we've got Mendy in goal against Crystal Palace. I mean, it seems like a decent one. In this draft in particular, we've got a team that is set for the whole season. We're not making any transactions. That's the rule in the draft. So it's a bit of an interesting one in that respect. But yeah, Mendy looks like a really solid option. He's kind of a set and forget goalie. Obviously the fixtures aren't great, but Chelsea can keep clean sheets against anyone. Then in the three at the back, Ruben Diaz, Wan-Bissaka and Cresswell. Solid options there. All attacking returns could happen, and certainly with Diaz, as I said with Mendy, nailed on clean sheets for most of the season. Cresswell on most of West Ham's set pieces, and Wan-Bissaka, obviously, that little differential pick when you think of all the people that are talking about Luke Shaw. Next up, we've got Rafinha. Now, Rafinha is an absolutely solid option in midfield. You just can't go wrong with him. Man United, okay, not ideal, but he could score easily in that game. Kai Havertz as well. Now, it looks like he will be able to play. Ziyech got injured in that Super Cup game, but Havertz is still going to go strong. And then Ken Sema, that's a bit more of a risk because we don't know if he's going to play, but it's 50-50. He could play, and he's so good at getting down the byline. Tielemans as well is a bit of a punt, but I think, it's always a Belgian, and he can be quite attacking when he wants to be. Wolves at home, let's hope it's a good one. Saeed Benrahma as well, Newcastle away from home. He's a nice little differential punt. Obviously, in FPL draft, you only have these players once in these leagues, so they're not really any differentials exist. But the point is, these players are quite capable of getting points, and it's a solid little option. And then up front, Ivan Toney and Richarlison. I think both these forwards can score at the weekend. Richarlison has been cleared to play despite coming back late from the Olympics, and Ivan Toney has as well. So they're both really good options. In the substitutes bench, we've got Robert Sanchez. I'm just not sure about a Brighton clean sheet. It could happen, but we're going to start Mendy because he's got the stronger defence. Matt Doherty, I'm not going to get too bogged down on Doherty. I think he could be a good asset across the season, but we've got him on the bench for this week because, it's Man City. Abraham, and I'll admit this was a mistake. I actually just had a technical hitch. I didn't mean to click Abraham when I was selecting the draft team, and unfortunately we did. We know, of course, he's going to go to Roma, so that is what it is. We'll just have that spot completely null on the bench all season. And then James Justin, also, we kind of picked him for a long season thing, really. It wasn't about just this game week. James Justin is so good going forward, so attacking, and hopefully he can get back from his injury at some point in the season, and he could be a really good asset to own. But that is my team locked in for the team that is called A Kiss from a Danny, a Rose. You love to see it. Let's move on to our next team. By the way, we're very popular in FPL draft right now. We're in 5 mini leagues, so what can I do? Let's move on to my next team, and the league is a nice short one with 3 players, but in this team called Make Way for the King, of course, it could be Ken Sema, or Joshua King, although he is currently injured, as is Joao Pedro. But anyway, we move on. Let's look at my team. Meslier in goal. That's a bit of a wild card one, but he could be decent. One of the most predicted points for the first game week. He's going to get loads of shots against Man United and could be a really nice option. Joao Cancelo, so attacking against Tottenham, could be a nice option as well. You'd imagine he plays because Walker just returned from training. And yeah, I don't see why a Man City defender can't get a clean sheet in most matches. Then Kieran Tierney playing tonight. We'll see how he gets on, but he's attacking. Let's see if he can really get out that Brentford team. And also, we thought, why not, while we're at it? If Ivan Toney can't score, then we've got the kind of complete reverse advantage of the double up. and we got with Ben White for this draft because, of course, he's going to start, the new signing, and just seems right for this fixture. In the midfield, Pulisic. I mean, he always scores against Crystal Palace. It's a great shout, as does, your likes of Havertz against Palace. But I think Zuma could score in that game. But on a serious note, Pulisic didn't play too many minutes in the Super Cup, which is good to see. And he's lovely when he's on form. Mahrez is a nice punt as well against Tottenham. I feel like he can do something there. He's been really good in pre-season. Smith Rowe, great shout. He's been given the number 10 shirt, and a game against Brentford could be a solid return. Jota against Norwich. I think a lot of people thinking about him. He was good in the Euros for Portugal. Pepe as well is a little bit of a punt, but the news that Arsenal are probably going to have neither Lacazette nor Aubameyang for that game against Brentford means Pepe could play a really advanced role. And then finally, we've got Jamie Vardy, who obviously did finish as top scorer 2 seasons ago, but he's still a very good player. He starts seasons very strong, and Wolves are quite leaky, and he's on penalties. Also, Callum Wilson's on penalties, and I've got him against West Ham. Could be very, very decent. And then on the bench, we've got Jordan Pickford, because I just don't feel that confident about the Everton defence right now. But we'll see how that one goes. Virgil van Dyke is on the bench. The reason for that is I've got him playing in other of my draft teams, so I kind of want to spread my bets and cover a few players that I think could score points rather than just starting the same players in every team. And then Jimenez, I mean, he's a great option, but we'll kind of wait and see how he reacts and how he kind of fits into that team now he's back from injury. And then Ait-Nouri as well, a bit like Jimenez in the fact that their fixtures aren't perfect right now, but in coming game weeks, Ait-Nouri could be a really good FPL draft option. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And here it is. It's Xisco Disco. That's right. It is absolutely lovely. And here we are. Schmeichel in goal. And then Keane from Everton. I mentioned the defence isn't ideal, but he's got goal threat. And Schmeichel makes some great saves. Wolves, without, the perfect, fully sharp Jimenez, won't be straight away back to their best. But also, I could see Wolves scoring in that game because they've got a lot of good attackers. So we'll see if we can get some save points. Cresswell as well. He's always on set pieces. He's so good. Shimikas, he's of course that 4 million player who's going to start at left back ahead of Robertson. And Brian Mbeumo against Brentford tonight. He could play up front, which means that he's kind of out of position. Midfielder in the game. Looks like a really great option. Buendia as well has been, unfortunately for Watford's sake, been past fit to play against Watford. And he could be really good across the season, as will Jack Harrison. I've got El Ghazi in there just because I think I was scared about Buendia not playing. But it's fine, we'll just play both of them and see what happens. Ismail Assar is there though, so we've got some Watford cover. And then up front, we've got Chris Wood against Brighton. He often scores against Brighton, the former Brighton striker. Could be a good shout. And also Patrick Bamford. He's the one that I think will be strong in terms of not many people are going to go for him with that Man United game, but actually he could be really decent. He was so good last season. So that is my team. And then on the bench, Dan Bachmann, Veltman. I'm just not sure about a Brighton clean sheet right now, but maybe I could be wrong. Rico Henry, the second player in there. We'll kind of see how he gets on, but I'm not feeling the Arsenal clean sheet. And then Harry Kane is third on our bench for obvious reasons. Number 1 could be leaving the club. Number 2 might not be fit in time, or at least ready in time to get against Man City because he's been not in training and he's arrived late and all that stuff from pre-season. So, moving on. We've got Watford FC, the team for me. That's the next name of the team. And this is a saucy one as well. In goal, Robert Sanchez. A back 5 of Callum Chambers, who at the end of the day has got attacking threat. And he's probably going to start ahead of the right back, Bellerin. Sanchez obviously has got a solid pair of hands. He was pretty good for Brighton last season, but I've kind of varied it up and I've put Veltman in here as well. I think he's got attacking threat, Veltman. I'm just not sure if I can double up, but I've gone for it in this draft. Then Matt Targett, I hope he does nothing, but I think he has got some attacking threat, whipping in those crosses. Virgil van Dyke, we mentioned how Liverpool have got some really good fixtures, and Van Dijk is back from injury. Ricardo Pereira as well, back from injury, and he's very attacking for that Leicester team. Then Ferran Torres in the middle. He's probably going to play out front for Man City, but unless it is Jesus, but I'd imagine it would be Torres. He had a great Euros. Harvey Barnes against Wolves looks like a really nice option. It just looks an appetising fixture. Wolves obviously have been quite leaky in pre-season, and Harvey Barnes is back to his best, back from injury. Bukayo Saka as well, obviously had a bit of a gutting Euros, but he'll come back stronger, and he's going to play quite a forward role against Brentford, you'd imagine. Troy Deeney, now I'm starting him because he's just got a great record against Villa, so why not? If he's going to start, which I think he will, then yeah, he'll definitely take pens. But I think if Sarr is playing instead of Deeney, then maybe he takes pens. It's one of the two, really. But I would imagine we start Deeney just because he's going to be up for it on the opening day. And then Martial, I hate to play him because there were no other forward options, but Martial at least does have the assurity of playing this game. Cavani is out, and it's Leeds. They're quite leaky, but Martial is just not great in form. So we just got to hope that one kind of works off the bit of the punt there. And then in goal, on the bench, Pickford as well. I'm not that confident about Everton. I've got Cucho on the bench. I originally started Cucho, but I'm just not feeling it. I think he could get benched, or if not, take a while to kind of get a goal. But let's see if he, has an amazing game. Fornals is also on the bench because I'm not sure about his attacking impetus. He showed flashes of it last season, but he wasn't consistent enough. And then third on our bench, Kevin De Bruyne. He's probably 50-50 to play. Let's not risk it. He will probably miss out the Tottenham match. And finally, our last team for this FPL draft. If you do, of course, know that I am FPL juicer for Watford FC, and this is the Juicers Draft League. So this should be really good fun. And this is my team. Emi Martinez in goal. Solid option for the first 3 game weeks. He's a very good goalkeeper. We've got Adam Messina in there. Originally had Kiko Femenia, but I don't know. I feel like Messina could be also a good option. And Vladimir Soufal, yeah, it could be alright, but I think we'll see if Wilson scores in that game to take away the clean sheet. Then we've got Dunk, great goal threat at the end of the day, and Brighton's fixtures are certainly ones to take advantage of. And then we've got Son Heung-min, who I think a lot of people are thinking about squeezing into their teams, but he just looks like a great option. He always scores against Man City, and he's still going to do well even if Kane's not in that picture. Jota, I mentioned how he's looking good for the season, and I think he could definitely start against Norwich. Trossard, good Brighton fixtures. Don't see why not. He's always a Belgian, and he had good flashes last season. Jack Grealish, the 100 million man. It's got to be done. Dennis as well. I'm going for a punt. I haven't played Cucho, but I'm going to play Dennis. We could see him involved, and he's a very quality player from Club Brugge. Up front, St. Maximan. All right, it's not ideal, but I couldn't find anyone else for the forwards, and St. Maximan is still very attacking. At least with this FPL draft, you don't have the prices. You don't have the same point scoring. Well, yes, you do have the same point scoring, but I still think St. Maximan can get goals. It's just not for FPL, but for FPL draft, he's a better option. And then Watkins looks like he will play, but if not, we've got first on our bench Zinchenko, who would probably play, but we'll find out if Mendy gets ahead of him. And then Sarr, the goalkeeper there for Wolves. And then we got John Stones and Bailly. Now, Bailey for Aston Villa, I'm not sure he's going to play because he's been in isolation, but he's good across the season. And John Stones, there's been rumours that Ake plays ahead of Stones and then partners Diaz, but we've got Stones if need be. The Spurs game's going to be tight anyway, and I don't know. Let's find out. But that is my team. Those are all my FPL draft teams for the new season. But let's get to the main bit, which is my FPL team for Game Week 1. Now, I mentioned how I talked about it previously, and I had a pretty settled team. I was pretty happy with it. But we've made a few late changes, and I'm going to update you on them now. So here we go. In goal, Dan Backman. It's got to be done. Villa at home. I think that is a very juicy fixture in the fact that we can get a lot of save points from that. Not necessarily a clean sheet, but Watford are going to go for it. Set and forget. Why not? Dan Backman. It's just a great option. And I think that, yeah, he could be one of those 4.5s you really don't look back from. And then in defence, this is where we've made a couple of changes. So the back three, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Luke Shaw, and Kostas Tsimikas. Now, I'll admit, I'm a complete hypocrite. I put it on my Twitter, I was like, nah, Tsimikas is an awful option. I'm not going for him. But then the Twitter kind of tempted me, all right? I'm not going to let that happen to me all season where I just look at what everyone else is doing. But it's not just what everyone else is doing. I genuinely had to think about it, and with my own decision making have come to the point that it's not worth not having him, if that makes sense. He just looks like a great option for 4 million. You could just literally keep him and then get rid when the fixtures obviously turn or when Robertson comes back. So Trent Alexander-Arnold is the player we all have to have, really. There's not much to say about him other than essential. Luke Shaw, obviously scoring in the Euro 2020 final, and he's so attacking. Could take some corners, let's hope so. But I just back Luke Shaw to be one of the best FPL defenders this season. Then Tsimikas, 4 million. You know, you back that Liverpool clean sheet, hopefully against Norwich, and that's all we want Tsimikas for. But as we saw in the pre-season, if you can offer those attacking threat also, then, you know, absolute result. Now, in midfield, we've got a nice little change there. So, as you can see, I got Tsimikas in, and that was a transfer in for, I believe, Lucas Digne, who I'm just not feeling with that Everton defence. I just don't think that they're going to get a clean sheet in that first game, or if they do, you know, that Digne, well, he's just not going to be a good asset across the season. Everton are a bit all over the place right now, and I think even though Calvert-Lewin could play that game, he won't be 100% fit. And Richarlison probably will play that game. And yeah, all right, you can say Digne to Richarlison, but I just don't think his attacking output will be as much. And for 4 million, you can just get Tsimikas. And if Digne shows a bit of form, then we can always bring him in, because the great thing about the Everton fixtures is they're good for a long time. Then Greenwood in that midfield looks like a great option at 7.5, and I've brought him in as a late change. He comes in for the midfielder that was, of course, sitting in the park, Emil Smith-Rowe. Now, I had Smith-Rowe in my draft, so I kind of covered that base, really. But no, on a serious note, Greenwood looks like a great option at 7.5 million. Why not? Because he gives you a bit of flexibility. If I want to change to a 8 million or a 7 million game week 2, I can always do that. Because, my people, I have 0.5 in the bank. So I've got great options here, great flexibility. And Greenwood is definitely going to play against Leeds with Rashford out, and Sancho probably won't start, but he might get involved and, you know, be off the bench. But either way, Greenwood can play on one wing and Sancho on the other, and ideally Greenwood on that left-hand side where he can link up with Luke Shaw, and that's points for both of us. So that would be lovely. Then Ismail Assar, we've talked about him before in my preview video, but, you know, he's just so rapid, he's so good, and I've got to be Watford optimistic. If it all crumbles at the end, then I'll at least know that I tried it from the start, and I think he's just going to be our key man against Villa. We're going to get at those Villa fullbacks and take them on. Obviously, scoring past Emi Martinez is going to be tough, but Ismail Assar's different gravy, and yeah, he's going to be a great player this season. Then Mo Salah, captain, it's locked in. Like, literally, until the deadline, there is 40 minutes, but I'm not changing my mind. It's got to be Mo Salah. The hat-trick could be very well incoming, and just go with it. Like, you just got to. Then Fernandes, vice-captain. All right, I considered Fernandes, but I just think Leeds actually did improve their defence towards the end of last season. Although I can see that being a high-scoring game from both teams, I back Salah to get the more points. But Fernandes is still a great option. You know, takes penalties just like Salah. And you could actually say that Fernandes is maybe more creative than Salah, but also he's not as explosive as Mohamed Salah. And I think Salah probably is one of those players who is probably more up for it at the start of a season, but Fernandes, obviously, they lost that Palace game to start last season, and I think Man United need to really start this one well to have a title charge. They will do that, I think, and Fernandes will still do well, but I just back Salah more. But yeah, Bruno is, you know, pretty much essential. I've seen a lot of people not have him. I think you're making a mistake. Then, up front, we've got the front three. It's a delicious front three of Ivan Toney, Danny Ings, and Antonio. Now, Danny Ings, obviously not ideal playing against Watford, but I've got to play him because I back him to get, you know, a few problems for that Watford defence. And yeah, all right, it's a season-long team, really. It's a very solid team, and Danny Ings is a great signing, you know, from Villa. He's very attacking, and the creativity behind him is going to be, you know, really exciting from an Aston Villa point of view. So against Watford, I kind of hope he does nothing, but at the end of the day, you know, he's still very, very dangerous, and it looks like Buendia is going to play, which is perfect supply for Danny Ings. And yeah, he just looks really good. Ivan Toney, he's the big differential, isn't he? At 6.5 million. I say big differential. He's pretty much one of the highest owned players in the game, the highest owned forward. And he said in an interview, I've heard a lot of people have got me in FPL. Well, in that case, captain me. Why make a mistake? Why not do it? That's what he says. But I haven't got the faith in you, Ivan. All right, I have got you in my team, but I don't think you're outscoring Mo Salah, okay? Just, you know, if you've been playing out FPL, Ivan, you'd know that yeah, all right, you can maybe score one against Arsenal, but I don't see Salah scoring only one against Norwich. And you get the extra point for a goal. And then Antonio, of course, against Newcastle. Newcastle have been quite leaky over the seasons. Antonio, I know a lot of people say he's an injury waiting to happen, but he's still so attacking. He's still their number one man, West Ham. And I just think he's a great player with those fixtures. Newcastle, Leicester, Palace to start the season. You cannot complain. And I think he's the best 7.5 million forward. There's no other way around it, really. So that is the team locked in, boys. And it is Bachmann and Robin. There is 6,291,789 players currently for this game week 1 deadline. And on the bench, we've got Ben Foster. A bit of future planning has gone into this team. I'm thinking about not just now this game week 1, but also in the future, because then I'll be in the best situation. And Foster is a set and forget goalie. Now I know a lot of people are saying that you can't have Foster because he's going to drop in price when people sell him, and people think, oh well, I thought he was number 1 and he's not. All right, I hear you out, but it's not going to happen. People that sell Foster are deluded, because if they ever thought Foster was going to be number 1, then just watch the Championship. Like, honestly, it's clearly going to be Bachmann, and I don't think they're going to sell Foster. But even if they do, right, I don't mind too much, because like I said, I've got money in the bank. I've got 0.5, so I can still get a regular 4 mil goalkeeper. But I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. It probably shouldn't. And I don't think anyone will have had him as number 1, apart from Ben Foster, who I saw in his video was starting himself against Aston Villa. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to play that first game. But in his case, Ben Foster's Cycling GK team, he's just going to get a sub in of Sanchez anyway. And Foster just, all right, he's quality. And I think 4 million goalkeepers don't come better than Foster, because Bachmann's going to be number 1. He's going to play most of the season, but what if Bachmann starts going out of form? Foster's a very good player to come in, and you're always going to have one playing, so it just makes sense. Now, the first one there, Bertrand on the subs bench, is one of the new additions. So I've brought in Simicast, I've brought in Greenwood, and Bertrand is the third one. It's a bit of a differential. I think it could be really, really clever. Not many people are going to go for this one, and he's very attacking. I guess he, picked up a yellow in the Community Shield, but you got to look past that. He's going to be really good for Leicester this season. He's scored his goals at Southampton, got some assists, and he just really is a marauding left back. And I also think that the fixtures just look really, really nice. Obviously, that first one, Wolves, I could play him, but I'm just not feeling it, because the forwards and the defenders I'm starting look more solid for points. And all right, Wolves can score in that game, but Bertrand's got attacking threat. So we got to think about the long term and the future in this FPL team. And Bertrand's got a nice fixture, game week 3 against Norwich. So that's a great opportunity for a clean sheet. It's just good planning ahead at this point, people. So Bertrand is a bit of a diff, to be saying the least. 2.2% owned, but you got to watch out for him. 5 million, and why would we want to get someone like Soufal for the same price when we're benching them, and then we could regret benching Soufal if he gets an attacking return? I think you just want to be settled on your bench. You can have players who are definitely going to have 90 minutes, but you don't want to miss out too much on the bench and spend too much money. I had Ivan Toney on my bench before, and I'm just not comfortable with doing that. Then Brownhill, good option. He's going to start, I'd imagine, but it'll be 50-50, I guess, against Brighton. Could see McNeil and Goodmanson, but let's hope Brownhill maybe plays in the middle instead to replace Cork. But I think Brownhill is a decent option at 4.5. He's attacking, and he's pretty much going to play, I think. But it's not really one to start. He's just going to be getting 2 points every week. So, don't think about it too much. The 4.5 million midfielders. And finally, we've got Luke Ayling. He's a bit of a legend because, all right, he didn't get any attacking returns last season, but I think he could do this time. He's going to go for it. And Leeds fixtures, like I said with Ryan Bertrand, really nice for rotation. And I just think, why not go for it? The Leicester and Leeds centre-backs rotate well. So that is my team locked in, people, for game week 1. Just quickly, the team news. Toney will start, apparently, says Frank. Sancho to be involved, as I mentioned. I think he will be involved, but just maybe off the bench. Lowton and Wood are fit to play, which is good news for my FPL draft team. We've also got the Burn and Lamptey updates. I would have had Lamptey, but he's just not going to play. Ziyech is out, of course. Elise is also out, so it's a shame for Palace there. Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison available, which is a big surprise. Ward-Prowse could be 50-50, but I'm not sure. Leicester, I actually think that they will probably not have Castagna there. And Jimenez is not massively fit, but that's why we've benched him anyway. And of course, we know King, Chalobah, and Pedro are all ruled out. Placheta is unavailable. And Omobamidele is a doubt, which is a gutting blow for all those people that have got him as their 4 million defender. And also, Ogbonna is probably going to miss out. Freddie Woodman in goal. And of course, a little bit of Harry Kane. Let's just not back him on playing. And if he did play and scored against Man City, then that would be interesting. But I just don't see him getting to Man City in time to make that transfer. So, hope you have enjoyed this FPL preview for Game Week 1. I apologise I had to kind of refilm it because I made these transfers. But I didn't want to, get you guys in the dark. I wanted to catch you up on everything. And at the end of the day, this is a solid looking team for Game Week 1. I'm very happy with it. And I'm very happy as well with my FPL draft teams. So the only thing to say now to end the video is that we currently have 99.5 million in the bank. Decent stuff. Gives us that flexibility for Game Week number 2. And Backman and Robin is all set and ready to go. We will just give you, though, a few tips. And these people are tips to win the FPL game. Now, you might say, that's never going to happen. You're being too optimistic there, Roberto. But, mate, you got to just go for it. And from an FPL, creative perspective, FPL Yellow Army reporting for duty. And I believe that you will win FPL if you listen to these tips. Obviously, it comes a little bit late after the deadline. But the point is, you got to do this all season. You can easily pull it back after Game Week 1. And these are some, really good tips to kind of consider across the season. So, with captaincy, don't overcomplicate it. You can go Maverick, you can go with someone else, but it's not worth it long term. Go with the premiums. And the other thing to say is that you got to go for some loose picks. And what I mean by loose picks are, not premium players, but differentials. But they're loose picks because they're not massively picked. So they're differentials, but they're players are going to start. So they could be really good options come at some point in the season. The next tip that I've got for you people is try and find value in those, early kind of games. Don't refuse to bring in certain players because they're, got a certain history. Just be very quick to, pick up on trends and form. And don't bring in a player who's, basically got less form than a player who actually is less expensive, if you get what I mean. Sometimes more money does make the difference. Also, think about your wild card. Don't wild card too early because you don't want to burn that one, and it could be a really useful chip at some point in the season. And also bench boost when it's right, when it feels right. Usually that is double game week, and a free hit you probably want to do on a blank game week. And then I guess you'd say triple captain. You can easily do that on a double game week, but there's a lot of variations in terms of what you can do. It's all up to you. That is the beauty of FPL. The power is in your hands, people. But I'm just conscious that there are some things that you should do, you should think about, because otherwise you could have your FPL team spiraling out of control. Just to sum up then, main FPL tips to take from this video, okay? Listen up carefully. What I want you guys to do, number 1, join the FPL Yellow Army mini leagues. We've got to have some more contenders, hopefully. And you can join after Game Week 1's deadline. So make sure you join. The code is 4SSRUP. And we'll get some prizes, of course, for the winners. And the manager of the month will get an Instagram post. So, make sure you listen and tune into that. And every FPL preview, make sure you keep updated to that. So, basically, those are my options. Those are my team code. But finally, we're just going to say about, I guess you could say that, this FPL season is a hard one to predict. Obviously, fans coming back. But just have fun with it. Don't stress too much. Just kind of take it as it comes. And we'll see what happens, people. We'll see what happens. So, thanks for watching. Make sure you do enjoy FPL this season as much as possible. And don't just, knee-jerk sometimes. You've got to think about long-term, are they a good pick? Are they the ones to go for? And, it will be a really interesting season, I think. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.